Why am I disappointed all the time? Why am I disappointed in other people or myself or my situation? Why? Are you feeling disappointment? Have you ever been overwhelmed by disappointment or asking that unanswerable question, why is this happening to me? Well, there are ways that you can train your brain, shift your mindset to get out of that uncomfortable place where you're just wallowing in disappointment. There are actually 4 things that you need to do that are easy and free. Yay! And that is what I'm going to give to you today. And we're going to get to that in just a second. But first, check and see if you are a subscriber to our channel. And if not, I just got to tell you, you are missing out on so much great stuff that can help you live a better life. So click that subscribe button and click that bell so that we end up in your feed here on YouTube. So when you log on, you see that we've dropped something else to help you live a happier and lower stress life. Those 4 ways to stop feeling disappointed all the time are on the other side of this.
GILD Coaching. More success, less stress.
Disappointments. All right, they're part of life, right? I'm not saying that you're never going to feel disappointment again. If you buy a lottery ticket and you don't win and somebody else does, okay, it's all right to have a 15-second, oh man, sure do wish it was me. But then you should feel happy for the other person who's wallowing in that abundance, right? But little disappointments like that are just part of life. I'm talking about chronic disappointments in yourself, disappointments in the results in your life, disappointment in your success or lack thereof, disappointments in other people, people who you know, people who you are acquaintances with, any other disappointments that you feel on a regular basis. So just stop and think about it. What are the disappointments that you feel on a regular basis? You're not supposed to be disappointed on a regular basis. So I always have it with me, my handy dandy pen. Get your pen, get some paper, prepare to take notes. And if you don't have a pen and paper, like I always say, open up the comment section and take notes there, because when you take notes, when you write things down, even if you lose your notes and you never come back to them, you'll remember what you learned better than if you hadn't written them down at all. But if you want to remember your notes and you put them in the comment section, add this to your liked videos, and then you will always have a direct link straight to them. Okay, so getting on with the 4 steps to overcoming constant and chronic disappointments. Number 1, and I'd love for you to write this down or type this in or whatever, type it in your notes on your phone, just anywhere that you can put an affirmation to remind yourself of this anytime you're feeling that disappointment. And this is something that I say to all of my clients, okay? Today's expectations, the expectations that I set today, are creating tomorrow's disappointments. Today's expectations create tomorrow's disappointments. They just do. If you don't have expectations, then there's nothing to be disappointed in. And if you say, well, I don't have expectations of these people, but they're constantly disappointing me, you need to revisit whether you have expectations of them or not, because you won't have disappointment without those expectations. So that's literally the most important of these 4 points, is stop setting expectations. The only person you should be setting expectations for is yourself. Number 2, when you start to think about these things that you're disappointed in, or these people that you're disappointed in, whatever, catch yourself. Say, wait, Jane, you're thinking about that thing again. You're thinking about the disappointment. What did you say? What did you tell everybody on your YouTube video? Or you would say, what did Dr. Jane tell you on that YouTube video? Redirect your thoughts. Do not dwell on it. When you put your thoughts on something and you're dwelling on something, it literally, the energy of that thought, which doesn't feel good if it's a disappointment, the energy of that thought just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't let it get bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't dwell on it. That's point number 2. Point number 3, learn how to communicate better. Usually when we are setting expectations, which you're going to get out of the habit of, right? But when we set expectations, usually we don't tell people what they are. Learn how to communicate better. Or if you have a hard time setting expectations that are really none of your business, this is just kind of a bonus aside to point number 3, you've got bad boundaries. And I want you to check out the video description here and look at our boundaries program, Freedom by Design. It's time management and boundaries. And if you are constantly setting expectations for other people, you are probably practicing really, really bad boundaries. There's 3 types of boundaries. We're not going to go into that right now because that's not what this video is about. But you've got to have good boundaries and then have good communication. If it's appropriate for you to set an expectation, let's say you're a mom like I am, it's appropriate for you to set expectations for your children, but you must communicate those expectations. You cannot expect them to be a mind reader. And speaking of family, do not expect your spouse or your significant other to be a mind reader either. Communicate, and communicate in a soft, respectful way. And number 4, this comes from the wisdom from my mother, my dearly departed mother. She always used to say, if one of us, I'm one of 4 daughters. Okay, I'm number 4, the baby brat. And she always used to say, if any of us were kind of in a lull or in a rut or disappointed or just, had low energy, she would say, get yourself busy. There is nothing that can chase away disappointment or a depression or sadness or a lull or anything like that, like getting yourself involved in something. So if I hit, just for example, I love to paint. I painted that thing behind me. It's not my best work, but it's pretty. I think it is, if you like modern art. But I do a lot of stuff that's not modern art. I do a lot of impressionistic stuff and I love painting. So if I start to feel myself really getting into a lull, I get into my art studio. I've started messing with mixing paint with sculpting clay and putting like different patterns on canvases. And some of them I throw in the trash because I don't like them. And some of them I give as gifts. And some of them I've sold. And some of them are on the walls in my house or the houses of people who I love. Get busy. Busy doing what? Anything. Go for a walk. Go exercise. Change your position. If you're sitting, stand. If you're laying down, sit, whatever. Your position, your heart rate. So change your activity level and your environment. So if I'm here and I'm frustrated, I'm sitting at my desk, this is my desk. This is where I work. This is not just like a studio where I record these things. The camera is on my desk and I do client sessions here and I do my paperwork here and I do all sorts of stuff here. I record YouTube videos here. I'll get out of here. Go outside, take my dogs for a walk, go into my art studio, which is at the other side of my home. My office is in my home. I get out of this place. I leave this energy and then I'll come back in later and I'll clear it. I also do energy clearing. So that's a recording for another day, but get yourself mentally and physically occupied with something else in another place. And it will break that thought. You cannot think about 2 things at the same time. You might think you can, but your mind's literally ping-ponging back and forth between the 2 things. The thing that you left might come back to mind later, but it's up to you then to redirect and not dwell. Those are the 4 ways to stop feeling disappointed all the time. And if this video has even given you one takeaway, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. And then don't forget to check and make sure that you're a subscriber because we'd love to have you. Click that little bell. And I will see you next time that we drop the video to help you live a happier and more successful life. See ya.